Houston on 2 for the lab setup, 2.5. Do you need anything rebooted?
Negative, we're going to get config.
Copy. station on 2 for SSC setup in the lab.
Go ahead.
Lastly, we're in 2.6.8, having trouble starting the DAS on SSC 15. When we go to the start icon down the lower left, it doesn't pop up when we type start DAS. Megan found it in the station apps folder, and we tried to open it through that, but it's not opening.
Okay, copy and checking.
Houston, we now have the green circle with DAS on SSC 15.
Good news, and we copy. And Station Houston and 2 for Shane and lab tool setup. Just want to make sure we're on the same page and that we are in a good config right now with the green DOS, with the DOS icon showing green. And the ground can take care of steps 3 and 4 for you.
Copy, we're tracking the same, thanks.
Good morning. This is Mission Control Houston bringing you live coverage this morning of the approach and docking of Cargo Dragon to the International Space Station. You are looking live as Cargo Dragon is flying through an orbital nighttime from a high-definition external camera aboard the International Space Station. Dragon has completed the rendezvous phase of its operations to dock with the International Space Station and is now in the approach and docking phase where you see it now. Cargo Dragon launched Thursday, June 3rd at 12:29 p.m. Central Time, marking its 22nd commercial resupply services mission to the International Space Station. Cargo Dragon launched from Complex 39A at NASA's Kennedy Space Center in Florida to deliver the first pair of Boeing-made solar arrays, along with new science investigations, supplies, and equipment for the international crew. You'll hear some chatter coming down on Space to Ground throughout the broadcast today. NASA astronauts Shane Kimbrough and Megan MacArthur are going to be inside of the cupola aboard the International Space Station monitoring Cargo Dragon's approach. And back here in Mission Control Houston, the Orbit 1 team of flight controllers is on console, led by Flight Director Paul Kanya. And to his right is Capcom, or Capsule Communicator Leslie Ringo. She'll be in direct contact with Kimbrough and MacArthur, relaying information from here on the ground back up to the crew aboard the station. One major component flying in Dragon's trunk today is the first pair of the Boeing-made iROSA solar arrays, which will be installed to the 2B and 4B channels of the P6 truss by Thomas Pasquet and Shane Kimbrough over 2 spacewalks planned for June 16th and June 20th. This will be the first of 3 deliveries of these iROSA solar arrays, and there will be 6 in all to upgrade and augment the power for 6 of the 8 power channels on the station. Again, Dragon has completed the rendezvous phase of its operations to dock with the International Space Station and is now in the approach and docking phase. Dragon conducted a series of burns over the last day to get it where it is today. And those burns consisted of a series of phase burns, boost burns, and co-elliptic burns, and have maneuvered Dragon to where it is now, just below the station in its final approach for docking. And Cargo Dragon is still on track for an on-time docking at 4 a.m. Central Time, 5 a.m. Eastern Time. We're coming up in about 2 minutes on what's called an approach initiation mid-course burn. That'll be one of the last major burns to complete the approach and docking phase of the mission. And that burn will just speed up Cargo Dragon to get it to the approach ellipsoid, which is an imaginary sphere around the International Space Station that formally begins integrated operations between the teams here in Mission Control Houston and the teams in Hawthorne. Before our coverage started today, teams in Mission Control Houston and SpaceX teams in Hawthorne, California, which is the room you're looking at right now, conducted a go, no-go poll for the approach initiation burn. The teams were all a go for the approach initiation burn, which took place just about 20 minutes before our coverage began at 2:09 a.m. Central Time. And again, up next is that approach initiation mid-course burn to make sure Dragon converges with its upcoming milestones. It's not always necessary to perform a mid-course burn, but Cargo Dragon will be performing one today, set to happen just about a minute from now.
Houston on 2 for SSC setup in the cupola. What downlink channel do you want for the desktop streamer?
And you'll be using channel 4.
And that was NASA astronaut Shane Kimbrough inside the cupola at this hour, calling down to teams here on the ground to let them know that he is starting to get set up in the cupola. And the mid-course burn is underway. Again, this approach initiation mid-course burn will be one of the last major burns to complete the approach and docking phase of the mission. And that approach initiation mid-course burn is now complete, which just sets it up for those next milestones, the next one coming, which is waypoint 0. Waypoint 0 is 400 meters below the International Space Station on what's called the R bar, which goes directly up and down in terms of altitude from the space station. Waypoint 0 is just outside what's called the keep out sphere. After waypoint 0, Cargo Dragon will swing out in front of the International Space Station, maintaining its distance outside the keep out sphere to a point called waypoint 1, which is just 220 meters directly in front of the docking access of the Harmony module. If everything looks good at waypoint 1, Dragon will continue through waypoint 1 to inside the keep out sphere. After that joint go, no-go poll from the teams here in Mission Control Houston and the SpaceX teams in Hawthorne, California. They'll continue through waypoint 1 and hold at waypoint 2 just 10 meters from the International Space Station. That hold is just a matter of minutes. They'll hold to make sure everything is lined up between Cargo Dragon and the International Space Station, and it will resume from waypoint 2 to its contact position for capture scheduled for 4 a.m. Central Time this morning. Again, NASA astronauts Shane Kimbrough and Megan MacArthur are inside the cupola right now, monitoring Dragon's approach this morning. They have a tool called the RPOP, Rendezvous Proximity Operations Program, that will provide telemetry through a link called C2V2, or Common Communications for Visiting Vehicles. That link between the International Space Station and Cargo Dragon, again providing data and telemetry this morning.
Houston Station on 2 for cupola setup.
Go ahead and tune. We're about 40 seconds from a handover.
Okay, just want to make sure we're set up here right. So SSC 5, we have a video up now of one of the camera views. And on SSC 17, we have RPOP, and we're streaming that. And on SSC 22, looks like we have RPOP up. We're expecting to see the grid with the camera view from Dragon at some point, right?
Okay, we're about to have a handover. I'll be back with you in approximately 30 seconds.
And that was NASA astronaut Shane Kimbrough calling down to the ground to confirm some of his setup in the cupola. That RPOP that he just mentioned again is the Rendezvous Proximity Operations Program that'll be providing telemetry and data throughout the approach and docking this morning.
And Shane, back with you on 2. Want to let you know that your setup is good. The video that you're looking for with the grid overlay, we won't get that until we continue our reconfigs with the C2V2, and we'll give you a call up for that if required. And then in addition, want to let you know that Dragon is now under 1,000 meters, so please monitor long-range approach per step 1 in 1.102, uncrewed Dragon approach and retreat monitoring.
Copy all, and we're starting to monitor in 1.102. Thanks.
Again, the voice of NASA astronaut Shane Kimbrough. And he was calling down to Capcom, or capsule communicator Leslie Ringo. Again, she'll be in direct contact with Kimbrough and MacArthur, relaying information from here on the ground back up to the crew. And this is a live view of Cargo Dragon from a camera on the International Space Station, again in an orbital nighttime, but you can see the green and red lights on the sides and one flashing in the middle. That is Cargo Dragon on your screen right now. Once Cargo Dragon arrives to the station, it will dock to the Harmony module on the space-facing side of the station, and it will actually join 4 other spacecrafts. Currently docked to the station is Crew Dragon, Cygnus 15, the Soyuz MS-18, and Progress 77. Cargo Dragon will remain attached to the International Space Station for about 1 month before being packed up with critical science and supplies, and will splash down in the Atlantic Ocean for that science to be analyzed back here on Earth.
On 2 for 1.102. We're not showing the lights that we expect on the PCS.
All right, copy. You're not showing the lights expected on the PCS. Checking.
And specifically the depart lights we expect to be on based on the table, but we don't see it on the PCS.
Okay, copy. Checking into the depart light.
The The next milestone coming up is waypoint 0. That waypoint 0 arrival time is expected in about 11 minutes. And teams here in Mission Control Houston just pulled a go for Dragon to go through waypoint 0. So once Dragon reaches waypoint 0, it'll swing in front of the International Space Station and position itself 220 meters directly above the International Space Station, where it'll reach waypoint 1. Dragon will continue through waypoint 1 to inside the keep out sphere after that joint go no-go pull from the teams here in Mission Control Houston and the SpaceX teams in Hawthorne, California. They'll continue through waypoint 1 and hold at waypoint 2, just 10 meters from the International Space Station. That hold is just a matter of minutes again, and they'll hold to make sure everything is lined up between Cargo Dragon and the International Space Station, and it will resume from waypoint 2 to its contact position for capture, scheduled at 4 a.m. Central Time this morning. There are currently 7 crew members living and working aboard the International Space Station. Expedition 65 from left to right, flight engineers Pyotr Dubrov of Roscosmos, Shane Kimbrough and Megan MacArthur, both of NASA, Thomas Pasquet of the European Space Agency, with Commander Aki Hoshide of JAXA, and flight engineers Oleg Novitsky of Roscosmos and Mark Vandehei of NASA.
Station Houston and 2 for Shane and the depart arm light.
Go ahead.
Okay, the folks have looked into it, and we find out now that this is a configuration change for this vehicle. So we will make sure the procedures are updated in the future. But with this light being off OFF, we are in a good config with the light not illuminated.
Okay, copy that. And I assume that goes throughout the rest of the procedure, right?
And affirmative, Shane, through the rest of the procedure, you can disregard this light, the depart arm light.
Okay, copy that.
Dragon now about 460 meters away from the International Space Station as it is approaching that next milestone, which is waypoint 0, 400 meters directly below the International Space Station. Again, Dragon will pass right through waypoint 0. It usually will not pause unless it needs to. The next milestone will be to move out in front of the International Space Station outside of a zone called the Keep Out Sphere. Again, that Keep Out Sphere is at just about 180 meters around the International Space Station. It'll maintain its distance outside of that sphere until its next milestone at 220 meters in front of the docking axis at waypoint 1. Dragon is expected to arrive at waypoint 0 in about 4.5 minutes from now. Cargo Dragon and the International Space Station still flying in that orbital nighttime now over the Atlantic Ocean. And back here in Mission Control Houston, flight controllers are being led by Flight Director Paul Kanya. And to his right, our left on the screen, is Capsule Communicator or Capcom Leslie Ringo. Again, you'll continue to hear her voice communicating with the crew aboard this station and Megan MacArthur and Shane Kimbrough inside of the cupola at this hour. Dragon now just under 3 minutes away from waypoint 0. Dragon now 1 minute away from waypoint 0. This is Mission Control Houston. We now have confirmation Cargo Dragon has reached waypoint 0, 400 meters directly below the station, and is now entering its next phase of flight. The next milestone is waypoint 1. Dragon now on its way to waypoint 1. It'll swing out in front of the station and position itself 220 meters directly above the International Space Station, where it'll reach waypoint 1. Dragon will continue through waypoint 1 to inside the keep out sphere after that joint go no-go poll from the teams here in Mission Control Houston and the SpaceX teams in Hawthorne, California. They'll continue through waypoint 1 and hold at waypoint 2, again just 10 meters away from the International Space Station before given the final go no-go for contact and capture this morning. The International Space Station and Dragon currently flying over the Atlantic Ocean. If you're ever wondering where the space station is or when it will pass over your home, visit spotthestation.nasa.gov and you can watch the International Space Station pass overhead. It is always the third brightest object in the sky and is easy to spot if you know when to look up. And getting much brighter views now of Dragon as it flies into an orbital daytime. Dragon is filled today with more than 7,300 pounds of research, crew supplies, and hardware, delivering all of that to the space station to support expeditions 65 and 66. Of that cargo is 751 pounds of crew supplies, 2,028 pounds of science investigations, 115 pounds of spacewalk equipment, 760 pounds of vehicle hardware, and 129 pounds of computer resources. And of course, a major component flying in Dragon's trunk today is that first pair of the Boeing-made iROSA solar arrays. Again, those will be installed to the 2B and 4B channels of the P6 truss by Thomas Pasquet and Shane Kimbrough over 2 spacewalks planned for June 16th and June 20th. This delivery today will be the first of 3 deliveries of these iROSA solar arrays, and there will be 6 in all to upgrade and augment the power for 6 of the 8 power channels on the station.
Copy the good block, Bravo call.
The solar arrays are made up of compact panels that roll open almost like a rug. Those panels roll out to 63 feet by 20 feet each. Again, the station currently has 8 pairs of solar arrays, and the oldest pair has been in use for more than 20 years. The 2 new solar arrays, plus 4 more to be delivered at a later date, will produce a total of more than 120 kilowatts of electricity, and that is enough to power more than 40 U.S. homes. Once combined with the original 8 arrays, they will boost the station's power up to 30%, which will maximize the use of the orbiting laboratory for years to come. You're getting a live look now inside of Mission Control Houston, where the Orbit 1 team of flight controllers is on console this morning, led by Flight Director Paul Kanya. To his right is Capcom or Capsule Communicator Leslie Ringo, and that's the voice you've heard in communication with the crew aboard the station this morning. One of the science investigations flying on Dragon today is called TikTok, and no, it's not the popular video app. This TikTok stands for Targeting Improved Cotton Through On-Orbit Cultivation. Target, the retail store, is funding the investigation targeting improved cotton through on-orbit cultivation, again TikTok, that studies how root system architecture affects plant resilience to stress, water use efficiency, and carbon during the critical phase of seedling establishment. There's also some food being delivered in Dragon today for the crew. Dragon is carrying apples, oranges, tomatoes, onion, lemons, peppers, and avocados up to the crew today. There are also 15 standard menu food containers and 30 crew-specific menu and coffee tea preference containers.
Station Houston and 2 for the Dragon monitoring tools. Want to let you know that the lab is all set up as a good backup. And regarding SSC-17 in the cupola, we're requesting if you could maximize the D2 M2 view.
Okay, copy that. I'll take a look.
Again, NASA astronauts Shane Kimbrough and Megan MacArthur inside of the cupola right now. You just heard the voice of Megan MacArthur talking to Capcom Leslie Ringo here on the ground in Mission Control Houston.
And it says no video.
Okay, copy. Thank you for maximizing that window. And at this point, the video is not expected.
Thanks.
Hey, Megan, just for additional words, we're expecting that video view to be available in approximately 20 minutes.
Copy 5 minutes. Thanks, Leslie.
Actually, 20.
All right, 20 minutes. Thanks.
Cargo Dragon is now about 450 meters away from the International Space Station. Again, that next milestone, waypoint 1, coming at 220 meters, which will be directly in front of the docking axis. Getting a clear view now of Cargo Dragon, as Cargo Dragon and the International Space Station are flying into an orbital daytime over Central Africa. And our first views now from Dragon of the International Space Station. If you're just joining us, we're bringing you live coverage of Cargo Dragon's approach and docking to the International Space Station this morning. So far this morning, Dragon has performed an approach initiation burn, an approach initiation mid-course burn, and has gone through waypoint 0, that next milestone, waypoint 1, coming at 220 meters directly in front of the docking axis. Everything is still on target for an on-time docking today at 4 a.m. Central Time. This is Mission Control Houston. Teams here in Mission Control Houston just confirmed that they are a go for waypoint 2, but again waiting on that next milestone, which is waypoint 1, coming at 220 meters. Cargo Dragon now about 417 meters away from the International Space Station, expected to reach waypoint 1 in about 13 minutes from now. Dragon is delivering more than 7,300 pounds of cargo today to the International Space Station, and of that cargo is 2,028 pounds of science investigations. One of those science investigations is the Butterfly IQ ultrasound. That ultrasound demonstrates the effectiveness of a portable ultrasound device used in conjunction with a mobile computing device in the space environment. Such commercial off-the-shelf technology could provide important medical capabilities for future exploration missions beyond low Earth orbit. The investigation also examines the effectiveness of just-in-time instructions for autonomous use of the device by the crew.
Station Houston and 2 for Dragon status. Both Houston and Station are go for Dragon to approach the 20-meter point.
Copy that, and we're seeing good views up here as well.
Copy.
Cargo Dragon is now about 340 meters away from the International Space Station, again waiting on that next milestone, which is waypoint 1, coming at 220 meters, which will put Dragon directly in front of the docking axis. Waypoint 1 expected to come in about 8 minutes. Cargo Dragon started its journey to the International Space Station on Thursday, launching at 12:29 p.m. Central Time, marking its 22nd commercial resupply services mission to the International Space Station. Cargo Dragon launched from Complex 39A at NASA's Kennedy Space Center in Florida to deliver the first pair of Boeing-made solar arrays, along with new science investigations, supplies, and equipment for the international crew, set to arrive this morning. Dragon now 7 minutes away from waypoint 1. You're getting a live look now at Dragon on its way to the International Space Station in the final stretch. Dragon delivering more than 7,300 pounds of cargo to the International Space Station today. Cargo Dragon now about 264 meters away from the International Space Station. Again, that next milestone is waypoint 1, coming at 220 meters, which is expected to happen in about 3.5 minutes from now. Dragon is now 1 minute away from waypoint 1. We just received confirmation that Cargo Dragon has arrived at waypoint 1. Going through some of the milestones today that Dragon has completed, starting with the approach initiation burn earlier this morning, followed by the approach initiation mid-course burn. Dragon went through waypoint 0 and waypoint 1 and is now on its way to waypoint 2. Dragon will reach waypoint 2 about 20 meters away from the International Space Station.
And we're in step 3, block Bravo, attitude as expected.
And copy, you guys are in step 3 and a good block Bravo.
Shane Kimbrough aboard the International Space Station inside the cupola, reporting good data, lining up with what the flight control team is seeing here in Mission Control Houston. Again, standing by for that next milestone, which is waypoint 2, expected to come at about 8.5 minutes from now. And Dragon's capture ring has now been deployed. Everything is still looking good for the approach and docking this morning. We do have an updated docking time for you. Docking expected to come at 4:08 a.m. Central Time. Dragon will remain in a hold at the 20-meter mark for a few extra minutes this morning to align Dragon's LiDAR sensors with the lighting conditions. Cargo Dragon is now about 82 meters away from the International Space Station. Again, that next milestone is 20 meters away from the International Space Station at waypoint 2. Again, waypoint 2 is where we will remain in a hold for a few extra minutes this morning to align Dragon's LiDAR sensors with the lighting conditions, which will allow for better lighting at the time of docking. Docking is expected to happen at 4:08 a.m. Central Time this morning. Dragon now 56 meters away from the International Space Station as it flies over the coast of Japan. One minute away from waypoint 2 arrival. crystal clear views of Dragon, now about 20 meters away from the International Space Station, just over 20 meters. Cargo Dragon has arrived at its next milestone, waypoint 2, 20 meters away from the International Space Station, now holding. Again, Shane Kimbrough and Megan MacArthur are still in the cupola monitoring Dragon's approach this morning. Waypoint 2 is the final milestone before contact and capture. Next up will be waypoint 2 departure to close in for contact and capture. In the International Space Station Flight Control Room here in Houston, Texas, teams are running a go, no-go poll for Dragon's capture this morning. Again, Dragon delivering more than 7,300 pounds of cargo today.
Houston Station on 2, step 4, block Bravo, nominal.
Copy, block Bravo, nominal. Hey Shane, just while I have you, I want to let you know that we're here for approximately a 15-minute hold. We're looking for good KU and lighting, and then are estimating that we'll have a push for final docking at 0903.
Copy, 0903, and we'll be ready.
If you're just joining us, Cargo Dragon is currently holding at waypoint 2, 20 meters away from the International Space Station. NASA astronauts Shane Kimbrough and Megan MacArthur are still in the cupola monitoring Dragon's approach this morning from the International Space Station. Waypoint 2 is the final milestone before contact and capture. Next up will be waypoint 2 departure to close in for contact and capture. Waypoint 2 departure is expected to take place at 4:03 a.m. Central Time this morning, and contact and capture are expected at 4:08 a.m. Central Time. Back here in the International Space Station Flight Control Room, teams are being led by Flight Director Paul Kanya, and to his right is Capcom Leslie Ringo. You've heard her voice in back and forth communication between the ground and the International Space Station crew of Shane Kimbrough and Megan MacArthur inside of the cupola this morning. Cargo Dragon and the International Space Station now flying into an orbital nighttime over the Pacific Ocean. And teams here in Mission Control Houston just confirming that they are a go for contact and capture this morning.
Station Houston and 2 for Dragon. Just looking for confirmation in step 4 that you guys are ready for docking.
You're ready for docking.
Copy.
And the crew aboard the International Space Station confirming they are also a go for docking this morning. If you're just joining us, Cargo Dragon has arrived at waypoint 2 at 20 meters away from the International Space Station, and they are holding here for a few extra minutes to align Dragon's LiDAR sensors with the lighting conditions, which will allow for better lighting at contact and capture, which is expected to happen at 4:08 a.m. Central Time this morning. We're in a brief handover between satellites right now, but should be regaining our video connection here shortly. Now just under 2 minutes away from waypoint 2 departure. "30 seconds away from waypoint 2 departure. And we're starting to regain that video connection now.
Station Houston and 2, Dragon is resuming approach and is go for docking. Monitor per steps 5 and 6 in 1.102, uncrewed Dragon approach and retreat monitoring.
Station copies all. We're in step 5 now, monitoring the approach.
Dragon now resuming its final approach, closing in on the International Space Station.
For block Bravo, everything looks nominal.
Copy.
Shane Kimbrough inside of the cupola confirming that everything is looking good so far. Dragon now just under 14 meters away from the International Space Station.
Houston, 10 meters, looking good.
Copy.
Dragon now under 8 meters away from the International Space Station.
Meters.
Three meters.
Hands off.
Copy. Dragon contact and soft capture complete.
And we have confirmed contact and soft capture at 4:09 a.m. Central Time as the International Space Station and Cargo Dragon were flying 258 statute miles over the South Pacific Ocean. Again, confirmed contact and soft capture confirmed at 4:09 a.m. Central Time as the International Space Station and Cargo Dragon were flying 258 statute miles over the South Pacific Ocean.
Ring retraction in progress.
The soft capture ring is now retracting.
Copies.
And we're now standing by as Dragon undergoes some final steps for hard capture. The first is the retraction of the soft capture ring, which is happening right now. There are also 12 hooks that will drive to maintain a hard mate with the International Space Station, and that will be the next milestone coming up for Cargo Dragon to officially dock to the International Space Station. And the ring retraction is now complete.
Ring retraction is complete. Docking sequence is holding for MCS reconfiguration.
Copies.
Again, that next step will be those 12 hooks driving to form a hard mate between Cargo Dragon and the International Space Station.
And MCS is configured. We are now proceeding with hook driving.
Hooks.
And those hooks will now begin to drive. Again, those are 12 hooks that will drive to form a hard mate between Cargo Dragon and the International Space Station. The hooks are now driving. The first set of hooks is now closed and the second has began driving. Hard capture is complete.
Station Houston and 2, hard capture is complete, and it's a great day seeing another Dragon on ISS.
Hey, Leslie, thanks. Yeah, it was a great approach, and it was awesome watching it come on in, and we're glad it's here. Looking forward to all the science and other goodies that it brought up, along with our EVA solar arrays. So it's going to be a great few weeks as we get into Dragon and get things out. So thanks to the team for everything, and look forward to working with everything on board.
And some words from NASA astronaut Shane Kimbrough inside of the cupola aboard the International Space Station. And following that hard capture, hatches are expected to be opened later today around 6 a.m. Central Time to access some of that science and cargo on board Dragon. We confirmed contact and soft capture of Cargo Dragon at 4:09 a.m. Central Time as the International Space Station and Cargo Dragon were flying 258 statute miles over the South Pacific Ocean. One major component being delivered in Dragon's trunk today is the first pair of the Boeing-made iROSA solar arrays. You can learn more about the upcoming spacewalks to install the first pair of solar arrays in our spacewalk briefing on Monday, June 14th at 1 p.m. Central Time. And then you can watch Thomas Pasquet and Shane Kimbrough in action install the solar arrays to the 2B and 4B channels of the P6 truss over 2 spacewalks planned for June 16th and June 20th. Both of those, coverage for both of those is set for 5:30 a.m. Central Time. Again, the iROSA solar arrays delivered in Dragon's trunk today are the first of 3 deliveries of these iROSA solar arrays. There will be 6 in all to upgrade and augment the power for 6 of the 8 channels on the International Space Station. The robotic extraction of the solar arrays is planned to happen on Thursday ahead of the 2 spacewalks later this month. And with Cargo Dragon successfully docked to the International Space Station, that'll wrap up our coverage this morning. This is Mission Control Houston.